my cue. Let's talk about pastries and car washes today. How is everybody doing? My name is Lindsay and I am with Perfectly Pastry. Who is Perfectly Pastry? We are a local bakery in Waterloo, Illinois. How are you doing? I was trying to turn on the mirror. There you go. Before I started the video and my countdown finished before I could figure out. I'm an old lady before I could figure out how to mirror the camera, but there we go. We got it fixed. If you're watching me live, use a heart. Let me know that you're watching me live. If you're watching me on replay, use hashtag replay. And if it's the first time you've ever caught me live, use a number 1. Like say, hey, it's the first time I've caught you live. Thank you so much for hopping on today. How are you guys doing? All right, I want to let you guys know AFB has not called or emailed us yet. Yeah, if you're like, girl, what are you even talking about? Like last week, I told you guys, like my kiddo had the best idea about, she wanted to submit a video so that we could win tickets to go on a Disney cruise. And so we found this really adorable video from when she was younger and we submitted it, but we haven't heard back. And I've actually had a couple of people ask me like, oh, how hard was it to submit to AFE? Guys, it is so easy. It was really simple. Now we haven't gotten past the submittal process, right? Like, I don't know, but like, because we submitted a kiddo, one of the things I want to say is like, you have to give permission for your child to like appear on TV. So like, if you're going to do it on behalf of somebody, you actually have to have the parent release the authorization that the child can be posted. We had a few people that I know that we have some really funny videos of some kiddos and they were like, oh, the mom said I could post it. And I was like, yes, but the parent has to sign off. So I just want to kind of give you guys a heads up about that. Other than that, it was like super easy, but like, we're not any further. So I don't know like what the next steps are. So take that as you will, right? But we officially have not been invited yet for AFE. Trust me, if we do, you guys will know and you'll have to watch. You'll have to be like, oh my gosh, we saw you guys. I don't know. You at least have to see the video because it's an awfully cute video. All right. I wanted to let you guys know, yes, let's get some delicious pastries and a free car wash. Like, what could be better? I never realized how often people clean their cars. Like I thought it was an obsession of my husband's because I don't take my car to the car wash. I like must be one of the only people. Like I wash my car mainly because my husband does it, and I vacuum my car out because my kids are messy, right? But like my husband gets our car cleaned all the time, and it started like when we lived in Chicago, and I thought like it must be because of like the salt and stuff on the road, right? And now that I'm thinking about that, what I'm about to say may make more sense. But I was like, okay, maybe it's because the salt is always on the road and stuff. Like my husband missed a dinner birthday party that we were surprising him with because he had to go get his car washed. Like, I'm like, I was surprising him with dinner. We're all like, his family and I were all at dinner. We're like, I'm like, where are you? And he's like, oh, I'll be there in a little bit. And then like 30 minutes. And I'm like, where are you? And he was like, by the way, this is before I could track him on his phone, but and yes, I do. I have anxiety. I have real bad anxiety. And like I start to panic when my husband hasn't like let me know he's left work or something like that. Like I'm afraid he's gonna get in an accident. I know I'm dealing with it, whatever. We won't psychoanalyze me right now. So my husband actually has his GPS locator on for me, and like he has this set up that anytime he goes to get in the car to leave, he pushes a button and it like sends me a text message and lets me know like I should be home in so many minutes, just so that I don't panic. But yeah, there you go. That was probably too much information, right? Anyway, so back before I had GPS, I'm like sitting there. I have an ice cream cake, by the way, for my husband, and it's steadily melting everywhere. And I'm like, where are you? And he's like, oh, I stopped to get my car washed. I'm like, what? You just got your car washed? And he's like, oh, yes, he had this like favorite car wash place. And I thought that was really funny because I was like, I mean, yeah, I get my car washed, but like I don't go that often. My husband loves to get his car washed. My kids love to go and get the car washed. Like I remember like when I was a kid, you know, I'm pretending like I have a pretty wild imagination. So we're like pretending like we were being attacked and all these kind of things. I loved it. My kids love it, right? And so we moved to Florida. Seriously, here in Naples, there are a crazy amount of storage units and car washes. Like out by me, like we don't have restaurants, but we have 3 car washes between us and the nearest Starbucks, which is like a 15-minute drive. 3 car washes. We have 0 restaurants. Oh, I take that back. There's one restaurant and Dunkin' Donuts, if you count that. Between me and Starbucks, but I have 3 car washes. And they just built a brand new climate-controlled storage unit before you get to the restaurants. I'm like, what? So they're really, really big things out here. And it's so funny because now we go to the car wash all the time. And you know what? Now that I think about it, it's probably a good thing because we have a lot of salt in the air because of the salt water, sand, those sorts of things. So I guess it makes sense that here in Florida we have a lot of them. But yes, we actually go to the car wash fairly often, and I didn't realize, like, I thought it was like my husband's thing, and I have now realized like it's more and more of a thing. Anyways, all of that to say that we are super excited to partner with Clean Car Express Car Wash in Waterloo this month. Yes, and we have some coupons in our shop, so you can stop by, get yourself a tasty treat, and we have coupons so that you can get a free car wash. I mean, like, seriously, get that thing spick and span heading into the fall. By the way, it is chilly here. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so chilly. It is it's 68 right now. It was 64 this morning, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so chilly. And then I found out like you guys had like your winter frost blow through the Waterloo area. So sorry about that, guys. I can feel you because it's cold here, in my opinion. That is why I'm wearing a jacket, because I have been freezing in my house today. Yeah, and like, bring on the fall weather. Honestly, it's usually not this cool this early on in the season. So I was a little surprised this morning when I went outside and it was 64. Like, I go for a walk in some of the mornings, and my husband is out of town, and so I walk in the mornings because my kids have a bunch of stuff in the afternoon. So I walk while they're at school. And I like had my tank top on, ready to go for a walk. And I was like, oh no, I'm like, I had to put on a jacket this morning. I'm like, it is pretty chilly. And we have like this breeze coming through. I was totally not expecting it, but it totally got me into the fall mood for our conversation today. I was like, great, I know what I'm going to talk about. Let's talk about some fall stuff. So sometimes I come on here and I like give you baking activities to do with your kids, or like just activities in general to do with your kids. And so I came up with 2 activities. One of them I'm pretty sure I've talked about before. We had a lot of fun when we did it, but it's like the perfect time to do it. I'm messing with my hair a lot today. Sorry. Like, I'm unsure what I think about the part right now. I'm going to stop touching it. I'll stop touching it. Anyway, so yeah, so one of the activities we've already done, actually both activities we have already done. The one though, I really like the idea, and so I think I'm going to do it again this year, because it's actually something I kind of took from the school. So let's talk about it. So the first one I want to talk about is a really, really easy one. It is making apple shrunken heads. My kids and I had a lot of fun when we did this. Okay. And I wanted to like look up like if there were the best kind of apples to use. And it says Granny Smith apples. I'm pretty sure I did not buy Granny Smith apples. I'm pretty sure that I just bought whatever that was the cheapest in the store. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't really eat apples besides Granny Smith apples, so I don't really know the names of them or anything like that. So we're going to go with, it was either a Macintosh or a Gala or something like that, because I'm pretty sure those are apples names. I just went with the cheapest one, and it worked just fine. But the article I read suggested Granny Smith apples. The way that we did it is we peeled them completely. With a peeler. Depends on what kind of peeler you have. You may not want to do that. You could also just peel the part that you want to use, but it's better if the whole thing is peeled. So like, you could let your kids eat part of it and then just take the core and do the core. I think that we were making apple cider, and so we had leftover apples. I do not remember if I just let the kids eat them, because that seemed like the most convenient way for me to peel the apples versus actually peeling the apples. But you could peel them too. It's so funny because as I'm sitting here talking about peeling apples, it made me think of my grandma. My grandma had one of those old school peelers, so she had a bench, and I think my grandpa may have made this for her. I'd have to ask with my dad, but it was one of those. I'm like showing you guys as if you can see how I'm sitting, but you can't. And so it was one of those like really antique, like you take the apple and it kind of like, there's like these nodule things, I don't know, and you like stick the apple on, and then you crank it and it like slowly peels it, and it was like attached to a bench, and so you like straddle the bench and you could like peel apples. So as we were talking about peeling apples, I'm not gonna lie, like total nostalgic moment there. So I shared that with you. Anyway, so back to our shrunken apples. So I don't remember how we did it. Honestly, if you're like me, just let the kids eat them. Like, just eat them down and then use it like that. That's what I would do, but whatever. And what you want to do is you're gonna soak them in 2 tablespoons of salt with 2 tablespoons of lemon in water. And that's gonna help them shrivel up and kind of get rid of some of that juice, right? And you just take like we used pumpkin carvers, but you could use knives. You could probably use a paring knife, in all honesty. I was just trying to use something that my kids could easily use. And you're just going to make a face, like design a face and cut it out and carve it into the apple for the kiddos, okay? And then you're gonna put it in the oven for 200 degrees, and you're gonna let it cook for 3 to 6 hours, because what it's gonna do is it's gonna, you know, dry up all the water, shrink it down. And then there are like these like adorable little shrunken heads. We used some to like put in our apple cider when it was all said and done, so like to give it a fun face. But there were other suggestions, like you could use them to like create floral arrangements, things like that in the house. So my kids really, really liked it. We had a lot of fun making them. They were cracking us up because, you know, some of them turned out great. Some of them, when they shrank down, you were like, oh my, what happened to this apple? But it was really easy for the kids. And like I said, we used our pumpkin carving kit that we have, but you can use a paring knife. I just did because I had my kids with me. And then the other idea that I want to talk to you guys about, this actually comes from school. So every year, and it's that time of year again, every year the kids have to create a pumpkin, and they're supposed to create it off of their favorite like book, right? And so one year my daughter did Super Narwhal and Jelly Jolt. And so on one side, we created Super Narwhal. And then on the other side, we created Jelly Jolt. And the reason I thought about this is I decorate above my cabinets in my kitchen, because like I don't have a lot of shelving and stuff in my house, because A, it collects dust, and B, like I don't want my kids breaking it and the cat getting into it and stuff like that. So I decorate above my cabinets. And I was like walking in the kitchen to have lunch, and I was like, oh, there's Madeline's pumpkin. Like we still have it from kindergarten. Like she made it in kindergarten. And I was like, you know what? We should do themed pumpkins this year. Now, we have really been debating in our house if we're going to do real pumpkins or fake pumpkins. So by fake pumpkins, I dropped a link in the description. They're called Faux carvable pumpkins. I have only found them at Target. I tried to get on Amazon and see if they had them, but they had like those like foamy ones, and I don't like those because they produce a lot of foam and a lot of mess in my opinion. Whereas the faux carvable pumpkin ones at Target do not. I like them better. So I wanted to share that information with you, because here in Florida, pumpkin carving is a nightmare. It is a messy nightmare. If you go to the pumpkin patch in October, it is hot. It is hot and you are sweating and you're like, I'm not even sure I want to pick these pumpkins right now. Now, maybe somebody who grew up in Florida, it is not as bad, but somebody who like me who's a transplant, sometimes October can be really hard to get into the fall mood when you're sweating your butt off. Picking pumpkins in the sun is one of those. Now, I love to carve them because we have a lanai, and so we lay everything out. We're in the shade. We can enjoy ourselves. It's beautiful. You know, all of those sorts of things. It's standing in the heat and finding my pumpkin and all of that. That is not necessarily my favorite thing to do. I'm not gonna lie. But because it's so hot and humid, like our pumpkins, last year we carved our pumpkins on Friday, and Halloween was on Sunday, and by Sunday they were black and moldy. Like they just don't last. And I really don't like the idea of dropping them into chlorine. Like I don't want my kids messing with that kind of stuff. I did see somebody was like, oh, you should be using vinegar. I just don't know if they're going to work well here in Florida or not, just because of the humidity and stuff. So we really like the faux carvable pumpkins for that reason. Now, a lot of times what we do is we actually paint our pumpkins, or like when Sloan was littler and we didn't want her like using the knives and stuff, we painted them. We would like glue. Like I would cut up a bunch of shapes and stuff, and she would like glue them, paint them, put stickers on them. Those kind of things are little ones. Like my kids like them, but they still rot. And so the faux pumpkins, we actually have one. So we got Madeline the bigger faux pumpkin, and then we got Sloan the littler one, and she like painted it and glued it, and I still have that one too. But I thought, would this be really fun? Okay, you know me. Totally like a highly competitive person, right? So I'm like, wouldn't it be fun if I had my family compete to like create a pumpkin based on a book, is what I thought at first. I was like, you know, let's go the intelligent route. Like I'll make them all read a book, and then we all create a character. Like we'll have a family Halloween book, and everybody has to pick a character, and like whoever makes the best character wins, right? I thought, oh, that'd be fun. You could do it on movies too. I was like trying to think of like Halloween books, right? And I was like, I don't know a whole lot of Halloween books. I don't have a whole lot of Halloween books at my house. I was like, well, you could also do it on Halloween movies, right? Like choose your favorite family movie or theme of movies and like create characters based off of that. You can do this as a friend project. Like I know a lot of friends that get together for the holidays and stuff. Like when we lived in Chicago, my husband's friends, they all get together and carve pumpkins. And so like you could have a theme and like whoever has the best whatever movie or like genre movie, right? Like that'd be a lot of fun. I I'm not very good at carving pumpkins. B, I didn't even know that people actually truly carved pumpkins until we lived in Chicago and my husband's friends had their pumpkin carving party. And I like went there and realized like you can get stencils and like carve actual things. Like I didn't know that. I just thought everybody did like a triangle eyes, triangle nose, and then like jaggedness for teeth. Like I thought that is the extent of pumpkin carving. I have no idea, right? Like there are pumpkin carving contests when you watch TV. Like my husband watches the Food Network and they've got all kinds of like pumpkin carving and stuff on there. I don't know how I didn't know this. Okay. So my husband and I, we lived in Chicago. We went to Chicago when I was like, I think I was like 20 or 21. Okay. So, I mean, I guess maybe I don't know, you guys. Like, I didn't know that until I was in my 20s. That people actually carve pumpkins. Nowadays, like my kids, like will print out stencils and stuff like that. By the way, I still suck at carving pumpkins. I just like I just help my kids like clean out the guts and like trace, and I might do like some of the harder ones for them, but I'm not very good at it. No, I'll just stick to my triangles and my jagged teeth. Those are the easiest for me. But then when I was like thinking about movies, I was like, oh, like I want to talk about my favorite Halloween movie. And by talking about my favorite Halloween movie, I realized like I am a nerd because my favorite Halloween movie is not a Halloween movie for adults. It is a children's cartoon. I do not do scary houses. I do not do scary movies. I don't do haunted houses. Like I do not like anything scary. When I was a kid and I was in preschool, my mom's gonna be like, seriously, dude, stop talking about this. I was traumatized by my preschool. They set up a haunted house and, you know, probably really wasn't that scary, but I was like 5. And the vampire knew my name because they were one of my teachers in preschool. And they said my name. And since then, whoop, nope. Not my thing. We do not do haunted houses. We actually went to Halloween Horror Nights this past weekend. I did not go. It was my husband, my eldest daughter. I do not do Halloween and scary things at all. So my favorite Halloween movie is actually a cartoon. But I'm going to share with you guys anyways. First of all, we watched Hocus Pocus and my kids went, or Hocus Pocus 2. My kids wouldn't even watch it. Hocus Pocus 1 scared them, they said. So I couldn't get any of them to watch Hocus Pocus 2 with me. By the way, if you're worried about it, Hocus Pocus 1 was way scary as a kid. It is not. Hocus Pocus 2 is not scary. It's funny. But my absolute favorite Halloween movie is ParaNorman. And I don't even know if very many people have seen it. So I did drop a link. And when I was going through it, I found that there's a book too. It's a children's book, but I think I'm going to make my kids read it with me this Halloween because like I loved ParaNorman. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. And I cannot get my kids to watch it. I will advise you that it can be pretty scary for kids. My kids all have seen it except for the youngest because it came out when my middle child was little. And so they've all seen it. And it can be kind of scary. Like there's zombies and stuff, but there's like this like, I think she's like a little ghost girl. It's been a while since I've watched it. And so my kids won't watch it anymore with me. But I want to suggest you guys watch ParaNorman. I'm telling you, I laughed so hard. Like one of my favorite Halloween movies. It's not a scary adult movie. What can I say? I'm a child. I mean, let's be real. I'm a child at heart. I cannot help it. Anyways, now that I've been jabbering on all Halloween themed stuff for the next, I don't know, for the past 18 minutes, I'm going to hop off of here and I will let you guys get back to what you're doing this week. I do want to remind you to stop by, get your pastries, and don't forget to grab a free coupon for your free car wash. All right, you guys. How can I even do this? If you're watching this video, you should be liking and following us on Facebook. If you're watching this video off of Facebook, you should come and find us on social media. If Facebook's not your thing, totally understand that. We are on other social media as well. On Facebook, we are at Perfectly Pastry Bakery. All the other ones, we are at Perfectly Pastry. All right, you guys, I will hop off of here and you have a wonderful rest of the week.